to you, so I put that background.
And where are you right now?
I'm in Denver, Metro Denver.
Oh, the scenery behind you is better.
Yeah. Actually, that's the picture I took about 2 years ago when I was down in Colorado Springs,
Oh, cool.
when life was normal.
Yeah,
That feels like long time ago.
it does. It's been a very long year.
Yes.
Amen.
If I leave, my dogs are either barking or getting in trouble.
There are
So-
some dogs, they start barking when somebody start speaking, so they know when to start barking.
Well, that's
Let's see
why I'm
the-
not on the couch with the computer, because they'll be in my lap and they've seen it before. They get inside and they want to see what's happening on the computer. So I'm on the counter right now.
we can count them.
Hi, Tiffany. Hi, Marianne. Thanks for helping me out.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that, Heather. I resent it again. I didn't see that email until later. But
Oh,
I
no,
did
that's
ask-
okay.
I wanted to make sure that you were on the email list. I was
No, that's okay. I was going, okay, anybody?
oh man, sorry about that.
No.
Good morning to everyone.
Good morning.
Happy Friday.
Happy Saturday.
I almost-
Yeah.
Oh, it's not Friday, it's Saturday.
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm going crazy.
Good morning,
Well,
Pat.
Nina, you let me know when you're ready to start.
Okay. I'm gonna pull and then I think Mark said he was gonna he's driving, but he's gonna join us. So I'll wait like 2 more minutes. If he's not on, then we'll just get started.
Morning, Pat. Marianne.
Yes.
Hi, Lindsay.
I was gonna say, Lindsay, do I know you? Memory goes really bad after 5 years. So
Do you remember Lindsay now, Heather?
no, not yet.
Elaine.
AJ and Elaine's daughter.
Hello. Yes.
By the way, Heather, the
Yeah. What?
The Zenlo and I go back quite a few years to the Vineland Church. I was pastor at Vineland. When I retired from there, he took over as pastor for
cool.
a few years. Then he became DS. He moved up in the world. I retired.
Well, I'm here up in the mountain. You can see in the background.
Yeah.
2 seconds.
Heather, you might remember Lindsay from the spiritual retreat up at Golden Bell,
Yeah, our women's retreat.
women's retreat.
One of the last ones.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have to go back and look at the pictures. A lot happened in 5 years.
That's true.
So
Sorry about that, Lindsay. I'll get there.
Heather, Lindsay is also our church treasurer.
yeah.
Oh, cool. That's nice to know. Thank you.
I thought I saw Karen Cooper on here.
Did. Yes, she's
Okay. Okay.
here.
Okay, there she is. Hello, Karen. Okay.
Lindsay, after umpteen zillion years in civil service, working accounting and budget, I told everybody never ever again in finance, no finance, none. So I bow to you.
I follow in my mom's footsteps.
Yeah, Sam did too. Go figure.
Okay. Hello, Beverly. I didn't see you. There you are, Beverly. Hello.
He's here.
Good to see you. I think we can, what time is it? 10:04. Oh, it's 10:05. So go ahead, Tizenlo, you can start, and if there's others that are coming in, they can just, they'll just jump on.
All right. You keep an eye and
Yes,
admit
I will
them.
do that.
Well, good morning. Good Saturday morning, not Friday. So please remember that. But it is good to see all of you, and thank you for having me with you to celebrate with you. And I'm looking forward to learning what you are doing, not only among yourselves, but also in the community. I was going through your report, and just like your many other churches, your church, you are doing so many things in spite of the pandemic. And as I go through all these reports this time of the year, I find myself asking myself, this does not look like a pandemic time or a downtime, because most of our churches have adapted to this difficult situation and doing your best to serve our community, your community. So thank you very much for all the things you do. Whatever I learned from you, I will share with others, and whatever I'm learning from other churches, I will also share with you this morning, because that's the good part of our connectional church. We learn from one another and pass on. So whatever I learned from your pastor, Mina, and also from you as a congregation, I will also pass on to others. Shall we? Well, by the way, my name is on the screen, as you can see. It's spelled one way, pronounced the other way. So that's the trick. It's not as easy as your pastor's name. I think your pastor's name is much easier, especially for an ethnic name. That's very easy. I envy her her name. But I tell people I have the meaning is beautiful. It's hard to pronounce, but it has a beautiful meaning. It means beloved. I'm the first child in the family, so my parents probably decided to name me Beloved. But I was not a good teenager, I confess. So I wondered if they regretted naming me Beloved at one point in their life. So if you find it hard to pronounce my name, just call me Beloved, and I'll be happy to accept it. How about that? Do we have a David here? David, as I share the meaning of my name, I'm also learning the meaning of people's name. And David, it also means beloved. Amy, do we have Amy? Amy in French means beloved. Okay, so there's no beloved. Only I am the beloved this morning. But those are the names that I'm learning, meanings of names that I'm learning as well. Shall we begin with a word of prayer? Let's unite our hearts. Oh, gracious God, creator, redeemer, and sustainer of our life, what a beautiful day it is. And we are thankful that you have allowed us to live another day to see your beautiful creation. Above all, to be your presence in the world. So we thank you for this wonderful opportunity to live and to call ourselves your people. As we spend our time together to share stories, to share ministries, stories of ministries and lives touched through this faith community, we ask you to be our leader, be our guide, and whatever comes out of our heart, our thoughts, and our mouth, may they be edifying, encouraging, and inspiring to one another. May we feel your presence even as we listen to one another, and may we be encouraged and strengthened through our gathering, our sharing today. We ask this in your gracious name. Amen. All right. Do we have a recording secretary? Sometimes it is already assigned. Okay, Mary Ann is our recording secretary. So if you would formally approve Mary Ann to be our recording secretary, would you please raise your hands? If you're so enthusiastic, you can also raise both hands and a leg or two if you're able. All right, where's Mary? Okay, there. All right, Mary Ann, yes, you are our recording secretary. Okay, I see both hands. Well, okay, great. Thank you, Mary Ann. No re-election, I guess, or no recount, I mean.
No.
So you are uncontested. Thank you very much again. I want to start with a brief devotion from our bishop, Bishop Karen. So Nina, if you would allow me to share. Okay, got it. Thank you. And if you have any problem seeing the video or hearing the audio, let me know. I had a couple times where people were able to see the video, hear the audio, but they couldn't hear the video. You couldn't see the video, so I hope things go well here.
Hi friends, it's an honor to welcome you to this Charge Conference. Charge Conferences are those times for reunited Methodists to gather, to remember the year that was, to celebrate what happened, to let go of what didn't work well, but then to reorganize ourselves and focus on the future and to put those things in place so we can go into the future boldly. Before we start, I first want to say thank you. I want to thank you for all you've done in the midst of a very difficult year. COVID-19 has caused us to stop all those things that mean so much to us, that feed us, that sustain us in church, and we've had to reconfigure all of those. I want to first thank our clergy who had to pivot within 48 hours of COVID-19 hitting our area and rethink how to do worship. They continue to relearn skills that seminary never taught them so that they can offer you a ministry that helps you grow in your discipleship as followers of Jesus. Thank you, clergy. I also want to thank you, laity. You have sought to respond to the virus in ways that do no harm and seek to extend the love of God and neighbor beyond the walls of your church. You have done so with imagination and with a holy boldness, and I give thanks to God for you. As I've been thinking about this most unusual year, a song from years ago came to me that I have been singing and praying, and I'd like to share it with you now. We are gathered here together in the presence of the Spirit that keeps breaking in our lives. Well, we don't have all the answers, but we sure do have the questions. We know that to create is to survive. We're traveling down the road we've never seen before. And oh, it's hard to know which way to go. But somewhere there's a promise about some distant shore that those who seek will someday know. We are gathered here together with our dusty feet and bodies. We're tired and sore and restless, and we don't know how we feel. Well, we wash each other's sandals and anoint our heads with water. And somewhere in the pain there is a place that starts to heal. We're traveling down the road we've never seen before. And oh, it's hard to know which way to go. those who see will someday know. We are gathered here together, we are strangers in a strange land, nomads in the desert, we are exiles meant to roam. Well, we've left the past behind us and the ones who called us children. We're searching out a new frontier, a place to call our home. We're traveling on a road we've never seen before. And oh, it's hard to know which way to go. Somewhere there's a promise found some distant shore that those who see will someday know. We are gathered here together just to celebrate the union, the coming together of our souls in time and space. Well, we know God's reign is coming, and we know it don't come easy, but still we trust our vision of a smile on future's face. We're traveling down the road we've never seen before, and oh, it's hard to know which way to go. But somewhere there's a promise found some distant shore that those who see will someday know. We're traveling on a road we've never seen before, and oh, it's hard to know which way to go. But somewhere there's a promise about some distant shore that those who seek will someday know. We are traveling down a road we've never seen before. It is such a time of uncertainty in our churches, in our denomination, in our nation, and in our world. I am so grateful for the ways you have remained steadfast to your call to live out the gospel in the places where you live and work. You know, in the midst of all that is so hard, my faith grounds me in this understanding. In all things, God works for good for those who love God. So even in these uncertain times, we can rest in that assurance. And I believe that ultimately, even in the midst of all of this, we are being led to that place where love lives. Here are these words from 1 Corinthians 13. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is not envious or boastful or arrogant or rude. It doesn't insist on its own way. It is not irritable. Actually, you know what? I'm going to say that again. It is not irritable. I don't know about you, but I need to be reminded of that. It is not irritable, and it's not resentful. It doesn't rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices in the truth. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. My prayer is that every church in this annual conference is the place where love lives, where love is visible. I mean visible in every meeting, every prayers, every worship, every UMW meeting, every youth group, every act of service. The place where love lives is that place where people don't seek power, but rather seek to serve. The place where love lives is that place where we don't ask, hey, what's in this for me? But rather we ask ourselves, how does this decision, how does this action bring about a healthier outcome for everybody? The place where love lives is that place where we don't close off from the world, but keep looking for the lost, the lonely, and the least. The place where love lives is that place where we don't accept, well, we've always done it that way. But instead we keep watch and on the lookout for the Spirit's leading and go where God seeks to send us. The place where love lives always asks, no matter what the decision, it always asks, is what we are about to do, is what we're doing adding more hope, more healing, more justice, more joy in a world where anger, division and injustice seem to have the upper hand. We are traveling down a road we've never seen before. As you prepare for the coming year through this Charge Conference, may you recommit yourself to letting God's love be so visible in all you do that those outside your church will stop and take notice. They will see a quality, a way of living that is so inviting that they will want to help create that future with you. I will be holding you in prayer throughout the coming months and year. May God bless you and the ministries that God calls you to. And in all things, may you do what God asks you to do with great love, great tenderness, great compassion, and joy. So my friends, be well, stay safe, wear a mask. God bless you.
Well, I don't know how many of you have seen our bishop play drums, but some of you have seen. She also plays the piano, and so in addition to so many things that she does well, she is a great musician as well. I hope you are blessed by her music and devotion. I'd like to now invite your pastor, Nina, now to share with us from her perspective as your pastor where the church is, where it is going, and also share with us some highlights of successes and challenges that you are facing together as a faith community. So Nina, please.
Thank you, Zenlo. Okay, so when I started July 1, before I started in July 1, I got to get, we met with SPRC, and of course I've got the profile on what was going on at Good Shepherd and where we needed to be. One of the most important things that Good Shepherd was desiring was an identity. And that was one thing that I made certain that was on the top of my list to do, because I had heard it. And then when I got to Good Shepherd, it was the one thing I was hearing a lot in different groups, meetings, committees, and then just in conversation with people. We don't even know who we are. So there was a group that was put together. And before that, like every other church, right when COVID happened, everything kind of stopped. People were just confused. I mean, I think that's across the board with all the churches. Everyone's just trying to figure out how to do this, both pastor, leaders, and laity, and everyone that's a part of the community, just trying to, work with each other, figuring out what it is that we need to do, and then trying to be very creative in how we move forward together. And so that's kind of what happened at Good Shepherd. There was a group, which was the relaunch team. They were put together by Pastor Terlin, and I was able to gather them again to start a conversation about what are we going to do about getting together? Because one thing about this church is that they're very family oriented. I have said to them that they remind me of the Tongan church. They really do, Tizimlo. I'm not kidding you. The way that they pray, the way that they think about one another, the way they contact and engage with each other, it really does remind me of that love that the Polynesians give each other in the Tongan churches. And so they wanted to get together in church. They wanted to be safe. And so the first thing I said was we needed to let Tizenlo know and the conference office. And when I gathered the group together, everyone was just on top of everything. They said, okay, this is what we need to do. We were looking at the websites, and these are the protocols we needed to follow. We need to create our own. So everyone got to work really quickly and also into my wedding. And we were able to get approved to return back to church. And I noticed that when everyone started seeing each other, there was kind of the sense of hope that they were all able to see or feel, because they had been distant. This is an older congregation, so it was very hard for many people to come together, because we have to stay safe, but also there are people who were unable, who have underlying health issues, who are unable to make it on Sunday services, but continued to show up online. So I think throughout the sermons and the faithful gatherings we have every Wednesdays, we try to put out a message of hope. And in the messages that are delivered, it is to kind of reset people's hearts in the midst of all that's going on, and to encourage everyone that they can continue to serve, that they can continue to do their ministry, no matter the COVID, because one, you could be safe. We have protocols put in place. So as long as you're being safe and practicing those protocols, you can continue to do your ministry in a very creative way. It is not going to be the same way as it was before. But you can still serve God in different ways. And I think God is always calling us to find a way, because as we know, we did a sermon series at the beginning, a way out of no way. God is always making a way out of no way. And so I've been trying to put a lot of encouragement and inspire others to figure out how to make a way out of no way as we're in the midst of COVID. So we have had a lot of people do things. For example, what did we do? The Halloween. So trunk or treat was not going to happen. And a lot of what I heard was, well, we can't do that anymore because of COVID. We can't do that because of COVID. And I finally challenged a lot of people in their ministries. And I said, okay, well, what can you do? You know, what are possibilities? What are other options that you can think of that can be creative? Also reminding them it's not going to be the way that it used to be. But we're in a pandemic right now. What can we do that keeps everybody and ourselves safe? During Halloween, with the children's ministry and leader, Shirley, she was able to get the trunk or treat going. And we usually have an annual trunk or treat. And how many was it? Over 120, Shirley? Over 120 kids showed up to that. And I think I only saw like 3 or 4 cars drive in, but the rest were from the neighborhood. I could not believe, and just the diversity of the community, just all of these children and their parents walking up, that still like brings me a lot of joy to think about. When I first got there, Good Shepherd said, there's no kids in our, we don't really have kids. And then the moment where we have a trunk or treat, all of these kids, diverse from just from the neighborhood, are walking up to the church, over 120. And Shirley, I think you had said that before you would get a little over 200. They usually get over 200, but to see it, I was shocked just to see that beauty. And I was able to have conversations with people in the community as they came by, and people who watch us online. The parents were saying, it was so nice to meet you in person, Pastor, right over the mask. And I told them, I just want to let you know that after this, I probably, if we meet again and you don't have your mask on, I probably will not remember your face, because the masks really hide how people really look. So we've done that. We were able to continue to do our stewardship campaign by telling stories, and we had Elaine and AJ run that, and that was very successful. And of course, the very last Sunday, we were supposed to have our pledge cards consecrated. We were so excited about that day, and then the bishop sends an email and lets us know that we have to go back to church. But the relaunch team was able to meet online really quickly and remind me that, hey, did you get that email from Bishop? We've got to close down again. But we were very quick in getting the message out to everybody. The community works really well with one another and very efficiently to get the message out there to everyone. The United Methodist Women were able to do their bake sale for Thanksgiving. And that was very successful, and very successful for my stomach to receive pumpkin goodies, because those are my favorites. And we were able to get some people returning during our, when we were in church. We got some people returning, and then we have some people asking to participate and be a part of serving Good Shepherd. And I will say that we have even a young family who contacted me and is really excited about running the youth program. And we had a baptism. That was, I heard from Marianne and Loy and others that they had not, Good Shepherd has not had a baptism in so long they couldn't even count, because it's been that long. But we were blessed in the midst of COVID to have, to create a blessed sacred space to have a baptism. And that was very successful. And Karen Cooper is on here. We were able to baptize her granddaughter. And we are preparing for Christmas. We had great ideas for Christmas Eve, but it's okay because I think we're in this space of like just preparing ourselves, because anything could happen. That we've got to just be ready and alert to adapt and then make those changes as fast as we can, and in a creative manner, and while trying to get everybody's input. And right now we are preparing for Christmas Eve. We're going to have Christmas Eve via Zoom, and we're preparing for that on the 24th. That's coming up. We've sent out a flyer. And there's another thing I wanted to mention that we were doing that so to Zenlo, we have created so the relaunch team turned into an authentic visioning team. And we are visioning where we are at now, kind of like what you want to talk to us about today. That's what that group is doing. This is just the team that's meeting, having these conversations. We were successful in creating our identity statement, which will be shared with the entire church just to get their input. So this team is meeting to talk about where we're at now, who we are, and how do we move forward. And we're just meeting to get that in, but we're not ignoring the voices of the church. Once we get that down, we're going to, and I have them going out on missions, doing certain things, hearing from other people, not just in the church, but out in the community, from our neighbors, hearing what they think about Good Shepherd. So we've been successful in creating an identity statement. We will be moving towards revising our vision, mission, and core values. But that will be, as we're moving along, we will be sharing all of that information with the entire church so that we can also hear from them. And that's kind of where we are at, creating goals of what it is that we want. Because when we first sat down in our meetings, we heard a lot of great things about what they wanted to do. But I had mentioned to them, so yes, that's great. You guys all want to do this, but we need stability in the future and want this to continue going. And in order to do that, we need to know who we are, because we don't know who we are. And so we have just been going in that direction, and we'll continue in that direction. And I'm hoping that the new year will get us moving, but really practicing and living into who we are, and not just saying it just to say it because it's great and it's there, but to actually live into it and really practice what it is that we have set in place for Good Shepherd United Methodist Church. Did I miss anything, my beloved people of Good Shepherd? Is there anything I missed? But I think they're doing great. They're so wonderful. And there's also a list that Tara Lynn had created and divided up leaders to call a group of people weekly. And so some people are doing that. We did lose some people, so that list needs to be updated. But there is a form of communication. I've also put up a whole bunch of options so that people have note, because I've heard a lot of excuses. So if you can't join us via Zoom, that's great. We have YouTube. If you can't join us via YouTube, you can call us in. If you can't call us in, great. I'm just going to go ahead and send you my weekly sermons every week to those who are unable to connect with us online. And that has been going great. There was one time, Lorraine, our secretary, had missed like a couple days in sending those out, and she told me she got a call from those people who received those sermons and were mad. They were mad at her for not sending it. So I know that that's working. And ever since I put out all of those options, I haven't heard any complaints about people participating and joining us. So
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Amina. Thank you very much. Yeah, I think technology does not mean always going forward like Zoom, which we never knew what it was, or live streaming. It also could mean going a little backward. By that, I mean DVD, recording DVD player. If we talk to our teenage folks, they will say, what is a DVD? But most of us have DVD players. And actually, there was a church during a time like this. One of the members said, oh, we received our DVD burner today, and they got excited about it because not everybody can participate like this. So many churches are going to DVD burner or written sermon, all this. So these are something, how do we keep all members engaged, not only just a handful who can participate through online. So that's wonderful to know. I want to say thank you to especially church members and lay leaders for caring for your pastor. When the pandemic started, we were beginning to hear a lot of heightened anxiety and stress. So we sent out a letter to the chairs of SPRC, reminding our church members to check on their pastors' mental health, physical health, spiritual health. It's not that we believe you were not doing, but to remind you to keep doing and to say thank you to you. And so I know that you have been doing that. So thank you very much. This has been just like any other profession, this has been really hard for our pastors. Thus far, since the pandemic started, 6 pastors have quit ministry. And we don't know how long this will continue, how many will quit. And most of them were serving out of retirement. So I guess it was easier for them to say, I'm retired. Why should I put myself through this difficult time? It's not good for my mental, physical health or spiritual health. It's not good for my relationship with my loved ones. So they decided to quit. But for those who are not yet retired, even though it's hard, we cannot just throw away our health care, our pension benefit, all this, and leave ministry. So some of the younger ones who are currently not retired, they are seeking help from mental experts to get through this stressful time. So I want to say thank you to all of you for checking on your pastor, encouraging her, supporting her, especially those who are transitioning during the pandemic. It has been really hard. Some people, they haven't been able to adjust at all, especially if someone is so extrovert, outgoing, always want to be with the people. It is just hard. So they're really struggling. So I want to say thank you to you for your support, your prayer, your encouragement during this difficult time. You have heard from your pastor, so I'd like to hear from you as well, as church members. You have your perspective, you have your desires, wishes, and prayers. So I'd like to hear your perspective as well. So please feel free to unmute yourself and share with us what you think your church, where you think your church is. So to begin with, let me ask you, how have you as a church adopted or responded so far to COVID? You have heard how your Mina has shared with you a little bit, but from your perspective, how have you adopted or responded thus far to COVID?
Well, I think one thing to keep in mind is you're always adapting. You're always responding. And it's not something that is exactly the same as like the last time we had to close down. And so from what I see, and I'm back at this church, I'm just brand new back at this church after 5 years absence of being down in a different city. And but the love and the attention to people and the attention to detail to get things moving is so strong in the community that I'm seeing. And that is such a blessing to see, whereas you could see a church just faltering because they don't know what to do. They don't know how to go on to Zoom or to YouTube, or they're scared of the media type things. But and some people don't like it. And like Pastor now stated, some people have left the church and have gone elsewhere. But I think when things kind of settle down a little bit, I think we're going to see with our identity, with our mission, with where God leads us, I think we're going to see that spirit movement go, and it's going to go into 4 or 5 or 6 or whatever directions the Holy Spirit just drives us to. But right now, I think everybody's doing such an awesome job right now.
One of the things that we did with our reopening committee is we worked really hard, and we had, lucky for me, I got to chair that committee, and we had people volunteering all over the place to do things and to prepare that church for reopening. We did our plan. We for the few Sundays that we were open, we took names, we had addresses, or rather phone numbers, so we could let people know in case there was a positive case of COVID. We took temperatures. We had a traffic pattern. We worked really hard at that, and it was successful. So to say we were disappointed when we had to close down is, we were overly disappointed because we had worked so hard, but we did what we needed to do, and hopefully we will get to that part again. As far as UMW goes, we continue to meet at the beginning, spread out, because you've been in our church. We have a huge area, Cooper Hall, where we could spread our members out. We even had a couple of speakers, just like always, and that was working really, really well. We did our bake sale, all things pumpkin, everything pumpkin bake sale, and we were able to bake and get things delivered, and surprisingly did really well with the amount of money that we made on that, which is amazing because, of course, even though our UMW report is not in this packet, we do a lot with mission, and so we're continuing to take care of Donna Piwo, the missioner that's down in Oklahoma, in Clinton, Oklahoma. And so UMW has buckled down, and thanks to Sharon Clayton, our president, she continues to send out positive emails and to uplift everybody. And Marianne has been working on rescheduling programs coming up, because we're kind of in limbo to know what's going to happen with those programs after the first of the year. But we're working. It's behind the scenes kind of, and not everybody's aware of it, but we have not let our members go, and we're continuing to do that kind of thing. So that's good. Help me out. Anybody else? Things that are going on? Of course, the weekly contact, of which I'm terrible at, and I apologize, but Marianne, what did you have to say?
I
Did you
think-
have your hand up?
Yes, I did. Yes. I think that by and large, we are all concerned about those who are not able to take part, for instance, via Zoom. We're so concerned about our friends, these people that have sat next to us in the pews all these years, and we keep lifting up different people. Every time we are on a Zoom meeting or a committee meeting, whatever it is, has anybody heard about this person or that person? I think our concern is there. I don't know if we're reaching these people. We're trying, as Pat said, we're making phone calls, and Pastor Nell mentioned that she's sending her written sermons to people, which I think was a fantastic idea. I think we have a lot of people who are very lonely because they're missing their church. They're missing the fellowship that was here. And as long as we can reach out to them in all the ways that we've thought of, and even those that we will think of tomorrow, I think there's hope for us.
Can somebody talk about the food pantry? I don't have enough history behind it, but
It has reopened.
yeah.
It has reopened, and I talked to Becky the other day, but there hadn't been anybody there for that day. We're trying to get the word out because we were closed for so long. And Lorraine has put an ad in the local newspaper that we're open again on Thursdays for 2 hours. Becky has volunteers who have signed up to help her every week. So I just think we just have to get the word out, and we will be busy again.
Yes, Elaine, please.
My mouse was not cooperating to unmute. I wanted to speak on behalf of finances of the church. And one blessing that we had going into the pandemic is that a year and a half or 2 years ago, we opened up the opportunity to contribute electronically through Give Plus or Banco. So we had folks who were already doing that, and some others that learned how to contribute that way. And then we just communicated as best we knew how to let folks know they could mail their checks to the church or drop it by on the days and hours that the office was open. And I think, some folks were so happy to be back in the sanctuary and to have an actual offering plate. So that would be maybe the downside, that offering feels different to some folks when they're able to put the offering in the offering plate and have it there, even though it still wasn't carried to the altar. We prayed over it. And then we realized on our Sunday morning, one member suggested, we've forgotten to add in the doxology after the time for the offering. And so we've adapted, and we show an offering plate even on Zoom to help folks understand that it's still important to give to God. I think our stewardship campaign was successful. I know many pledge cards have been returned, and I do not believe they've been tallied as yet, because we figure it's going to take a little longer possibly for folks to send those in. But I'm feeling positive. Giving is down, but I think that's more connected perhaps to folks who have chosen to leave the church, as opposed to ongoing offering of those who are faithful members and those attending church. And we continue to pray that will continue. We applied for and received a payroll protection loan. We still consider it a loan because it hasn't been forgiven, but we look forward to the day that we can process whatever documents they require of us to have that forgiven. It was just under $20,000. And so it's our hope that when Congress acts, that they've indicated loans under $50,000 may be automatically forgiven. So keep praying, folks. You prayer warriors out there. That's something we could really appreciate, is loan forgiveness.
Yes, Tiffany, please.
I wanted to send out a big kudos to Gene Montgomery and his wife, our director of music, Jennifer Montgomery. They've made this switch to Zoom and YouTube so smooth. I don't think it would have happened if we didn't have Gene to help us get everything switched over. He does a lot in the background that I don't think people realize, that he's got multiple computers and multiple screens, and he keeps it all going. So I think he's helped us be able to stay in contact and at least see people. I know it's difficult. It's on a computer screen, and I spend a lot of days on a computer screen with work, but it's nice to see people's smiling faces on Zoom for service. So big thank you to them to keep everything going on Zoom and on YouTube.
Yeah, and just on top of that, Gene is volunteering to do all of this. He's even had to update my computer and fix it so that everyone can clearly hear what the pastor is saying.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, that's wonderful. Yeah, I think larger churches with more people with skill sets are doing better, but smaller churches, almost everything fall on the shoulder of the pastor. But your church, you are blessed to have somebody who have the skill and willing to step up. That's wonderful. So thank you to them. Yes, wonderful. Thank you. All right. At one point, we asked a question, what have you learned? And one of the church members said, oh, we have learned that people are less annoying when we're not meeting in person. So there are so many things we're learning. What have you learned so far in terms of your church life, in terms of your personal faith journey? What have you learned during the pandemic?
The solitary.
I've learned, like, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead, Pat.
All right, let's start with Heather then.
Okay. I was going to say, I learned in the solitude and that it takes more discipline in my communication and my communion with God, and to keep that on a daily basis, if not even more than that. But on the other hand, having the community around is so warming to the spirit. It just fills my soul to be around all these people that you see on the screens. I've known them for zillions of years. And so you got the learning, you've got the thank you of being able to be in community at times, even if it's through Zoom. You still have that community, but also learning that in solitude, you can learn a lot about God, about yourself, about the church, about life. And if you allow yourself some time to be in solitude every day. And the pandemic, as weird as it seems, has been a blessing on that for me. So,
Thank you. Pat, please.
I was just going to say that I think that what I've learned is that how much I rely on and depend on people, as Heather said, that sense of community. And while I don't want to say that I took it for granted, but I did. And the things I miss, choir practice and and hugs after church and and UMW getting together. And it's left a hole, and I'm sort of at odds with what do I do with my time, since so much of it was occupied by activities and things that were church related. So it's I've learned that I miss it big time.
That's true. Yeah. Well, I think that's a good point, both of you. In this country, of course, we can come to church every day or anytime we like without fear, without hindrances. So I think oftentimes we take that for granted, but there are so many faith communities or people, Christians around the world. They are anytime, not by pandemic or natural cause, but the government or just by any other force, they could be prevented. So for us, we have been, to a certain extent, enjoying the freedom and taking things for granted, and suddenly everything is taken away by something that we cannot even see, a tiny little microscope. So I think this helps us to understand how people like Christians in other who are minority in other countries, other cultures, every day they go to church with uncertainty looming that it can be taken away, they could be prevented. So that's something we can appreciate about what we have, as well as to put ourselves in the shoes of others and understand their struggle and pray for them. So thank you. We have heard so much about the past, the present, and your pastor Mina has shared with us what you are doing. So we will not go deep into it, but I'd like to hear what you like to do in the year, or at least 2021 or a few years down the road. What are your goals, your prayers, your wishes? Sometimes it could be a plan, a detailed plan, but it could be interrupted by a small unseen microbes. We have experienced that. But what are your prayers and wishes for 2020 and maybe beyond?
well, I'm not going to speak first. But I am, I guess. At this moment, I don't know. I can honestly say that. There are people that I need to meet and see where their path is in life and where that goes with the church and how it can benefit the church. I need to reconnect with some people that possibly can come back, that can give a lot of support for the church and possibly bring more back. But I think for me right now, it's just learning about the people that are here at the church right now. Like I said earlier, I've been gone for about 5 years. So people have changed and ideals have changed. And so I need to know who's who and where they come from, and where best are they feeling led to go and serve God within the church or outside the church. We need a lot of outside of the church as a building, I'm talking. So right now, that's about where I'm at.
Well, I've seen churches, sometimes churches split or some deep conflict took place and some members left and nobody thought they will come back. Just they felt deeply hurt. But after a few months or after a year or two, somebody reached out to them and they decided to come back because they tried this church, they tried that church, but it didn't feel like the home church where they have deep connection. So yes, let's continue to keep hope and pray for them and reach out to them. I'm sure they will change their mind. And I've seen that happen. So, and this pandemic, just not only your church, but this pandemic has divided. Sometimes between the pastor and the congregation, sometimes even within the congregation, because we don't all think alike. We are all different. So it has divided congregation members. But overall, the overwhelming response is that what we're hearing is that this pandemic has brought us together. It has really taught us to love one another, care for one another. It has taught us to put our faith into practice, and we are a better community because of the pandemic. Yes, there are struggles, there are issues, but overall, that's the message that we're hearing. So, yes, some people may feel hurt and leave, but those of you who are here, I can see that you love one another. During this trying time, God has brought you together. So it's wonderful to hear that.
And that's the one point that I was trying to make earlier, and I'm not sure if I made it well enough or not, but not just this whole group, but everybody that keeps hopping in and out, everybody, the church as a whole, the people that I've seen, such resilience, and they have done, if you're into football, they have gotten down into the line and they have put their feet, the cleats into the ground, and they're ready to go. And they want to go forward and they want to do God's work. And like Pastor now has stated, we're working on this process of learning who we are and where God is leading us to go, because it may not be where we have been 20 years ago or 30 years ago. It could be a whole different chapter in Good Shepherd's life. Who knows?
Yes.
And so, but I think the people that are in the committees, I think they've got their feet stuck to the ground and they're ready to go forward and just go with gumption.
Right. Thank you very much.
I think there's one thing, it's me, that I really miss, and I'll be glad when it comes back in 2021, hopefully. And that's our music ministry. Good Shepherd has a very active music ministry. And we have a fantastic leader. And we have done a lot with our cantatas, going to nursing homes. After each one of our cantatas, or before each one of our cantatas, and music has been a big thing in our church. And we have a lot of trained musicians in our church hidden in the background. And I just can't wait till I can express myself in music again. That's that's what I want to see happen.
Sure, definitely. Yes, yes. Well, as you know, historically, our faith is always communal. We practice our faith in community with others. So, not being able to do that it's very difficult. And also, music is a huge part of our spirituality, our worship. So, these are difficult, and we are hearing that across the board, not just your church. So, yes, but hopefully, with the vaccine approved, hopefully we will be able to go back to a new normal. The normal that we will see is not going to be the past normal or the normal that we used to see, but it's going to be a new normal, and we got to learn how to live with it. So thank you all. I want to share with you a few things that I'm learning from other churches. One is, and I don't know if you did this or not, but one is open air or parking lot or drive-in worship. There are many churches that did that, and I know your parking lot you have one on the other side, and on this side it's a little difficult, but just still, hopefully you can do that. But there are some churches they are saying, even after we go back to safe in-person worship, we are going to do this, and it's been so fun, and we're going to invite our neighbors, people driving by, to join us. And that is happening. There's a church here in Denver. They started doing it, and the neighbors begin to hear music and the sermon, and they started coming to church, drive-in church. So those are some of the things we could have done in the past, but we never thought about it, but something to consider. Or online ministry. It's been, many churches are adopting to it. Like you had baptism and live stream through Facebook or other platform. That is now being done. So that's something we can still do even after we go back to in-person worship, because not everybody will be able to join, especially grandparents or nieces and cousins all over the country. They will not be able to join. So that's something we can continue to do. Memorial services are also being live streamed, and people are celebrating through different platforms. So those are some of the things we could have done in the past. We never thought about it until the pandemic hit us. So something that our pastors, clergy colleagues, and churches are saying, we are going to do this even after we go back to in-person worship. There is a church here in Metro Denver downtown area. They recently received a member online from California, and she started attending the online worship, and she said, I want to be a member of your church. And then she became a member. A few months later, she wrote multiple $1,000s in donation. Now she has put her estate, the church, under her will. So there are some ways that, and all these things we could have done in the past, but we never thought about it. There are members who moved away to other states, joining Bible study or Sunday worship, all this happening. There are other churches, Good Shepherd, St. Paul's. They have a family from the Philippines, another family from Russia joining their worship service. There's another church, a family from Ireland is worshiping with them. So all these things are being done online. And so somehow God has opened the eyes of the church to reach out to people beyond the walls of our church. Yes, we do need people in person, a critical mass to carry on the ministry, the mission of the church. But we can also continue to reach out to people who may never be a part of our church physically, or never step into the doors of our church. They can still receive the good news through your ministry. So something to think about. And many churches are updating their website, their technology, in order to continue their online presence even after or beyond the pandemic, however that beyond the pandemic looked like. So something in terms of another aspect that I'm hearing in terms of church leadership or church meeting, Bible study, I'm hearing the desire from young people, younger, um, uh, younger couples with kids, um, and their hearing their perspective has been very helpful. Um, During a meeting like one of the church conferences like this, there was a young couple sitting together, and occasionally their kids, maybe 6, 7, 8 years old, two of them just they would show up on the screen, sit on the parents' lap, and then disappear, just like Mina's dog was doing earlier. And it was fun to watch little kids just show up. It just brightened our mood. And then when we started sharing, it was so interesting to hear their perspective, which I have and nobody have thought about. They said, we have been a part of our church for many years, but because we work full time, we have kids at home. There was no way we could leave our kids at home and come to church meeting or Bible study. But because we are doing it online, we are able to participate every time with our kids at home. We can stay at home with our kids and we can participate. So this has been such a blessing. And we would like to continue this even beyond after the pandemic or beyond the pandemic. So these, no wonder many young people are not able to be on leadership position or attend Bible study or church activities at night because they work full time, they have kids at home. But this has given an opportunity to them to be a part of the church family beyond Sunday worship attendance. So something to think about. And as I begin to hear this more and more, I was sharing with another church, and there was an older lady. She said, it's not only young people, but we older people also like this because we don't want to drive at night. It is risky. It is dangerous for us to drive. So we like this. We wanted this to continue. So these things we could have done even before, but we never thought about it. So yes, there are time and place when we need to do in-person meeting, but we don't have to always go to the same room, sit on the same chair and do the meetings. We can give options. So something to think about in order to attract, especially young people, to be a part of the whole life of the church. And finally, there was another lady. She said, I work full time. I'm so busy. I could never attend in-person Bible study, but it is now being done online. I'm attending every time, and I'm so blessed. It challenges me, it nourishes me, and I'm being so blessed. So I'm attending every time. So those are some of the things we can continue to involve more people. So these are some of the things we need to think about how to do ministry in the new normal beyond where we are right now. Thank you all. I'd like to invite one of the lay leaders or lay person to lead us in a word of prayer because as you know, the laity, you are the church. We pastor, of course, we have our role, we have our responsibility, but we come and go. You have seen so many pastors come and go. You were there before Mina came. You will be there after she leaves, especially in our Methodist system. There's a so frequent pastoral transition, and you have been there many, many years for decades. You provide the consistency and continuity to the ministry and mission of your church. You are the church. So thinking about all this that we have shared, I'd like to ask one of the laity to lead us in a word of prayer. Sometime the pastor would have already assigned. If it's not, then anybody can volunteer and lead us. Is there anyone? Oh, you're muted. Marianne, you're muted, yeah.
I say, we haven't heard from Shirley. Maybe she could do that.
Okay. Is she here?
Yes, she is.
Oh, okay. All right. Would you like to, Shirley? Oh, you're muted.
She's
So
Shirley, you're muted.
there you go. Yeah.
Dear Lord, we thank you for this opportunity to bring together new ideas for growth in the coming year. We know that this last year has been tough, but we have learned from it, and we will continue to learn. And we're hoping for a revitalization as we move forward into the coming year. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Shirley. Thank you very much. All right, let us transition to the business aspect of our gathering and approve a few items that needs to be approved by the action of this charge conference. First, let us receive the nominations report or lay leadership or nominations report for 2021. Nina, would you like to do that, or have you assigned anybody?
Sorry, I was distracted by the dog on the. What did you? I'm so sorry, Susanna. I really was distracted by the dog, and I was writing her a message.
That does
What
not
did you
happen
ask?
to me. Yeah. Lay leadership or nominations report
Okay.
for 2021. You have sent me, and I do have it. But if you like to present that, that's fine.
Yes, I can. Let me pull it up here real quickly.
Could I make a correction to it, please?
Yes, please.
Yes, under the missions committee, Adele Cancel's name is listed twice. I think her name should only be listed once, and the other name that needs to be put in there is Bonnie Anderson.
Thank you.
And what is that?
I think Bonnie Anderson's name.
Okay, Bonnie Anderson.
Yes, thank you.
Sorry.
And I'm sure you have gone through, so we will not spend so much time. But while Nina is looking for it, if you like to, if you see any changes, please share with us, and we'll make correction and move on.
Sorry. It was up and then I lost it and I have to bring it back up. And you said lay leadership, Tizenlo?
Yes, nominations. It's called lay leadership or nominations report for 2021. The nomination
For
that you nominate for to be leaders for 2021.
That would be Pat Nyberg, Jim Scadden, Heather Dillard, and Shirley Greener.
Okay. So it would be the entire team, but I'm sure you have gone through
the new person that was nominated.
Oh,
you're asking me? Is
yeah. So it would be the entire. We do have 5 required committees. They are ad council or church council. That's one. Finance, trustees, SPRC, and nominations or lay leadership. Now, it's the new term is called the Committee on Nominations and Lay Leadership Leadership Development. The idea is not only nominating and forgetting about just sending them without knowing, sometimes knowing not what to do, but to continue to provide resources and training throughout the year. So it's called nominations and leadership development. So the leadership development part is to continue to provide resources and leadership training throughout the year to make them effective in their position. So those 5 committees, but I'm sure everyone has seen it. Have you seen, do you see any changes? If not, we will vote and move on. And this is, by the way, this is the only committee that the pastor is chair.
Yeah.
And so they have worked on it.
I think some of us picked up our paper copies from the church. So basically it's that first 2 pages, the church leadership, the first 2 pages, am I correct?
Let's see, first 2 pages. It was just open now.
Yeah, church leadership 2021.
Pastor, now I have it loaded. Do you want me to share my screen?
Yes, but
All right, please.
actually,
Yes.
I have it. I can share it, but the to Zenlo, I gave you host capability, so you would.
Yes, I do have. I opened so many that I trying to find which one it is now.
That's what I did.
That's not the one. But I can transfer to you, Tiffany, and you can share if you already have that with me here. I'll make you the co-host. Did you see that? I was just looking at it and then now it disappeared. Oh, here.
Okay, I get what you were asking me now, to Zenlo. You wanted me to share it.
Yeah, so whoever.
I'm sorry.
Between
Yeah.
you and Tiffany.
It's Friday, right? No.
Yeah.
Keep on saying
Thank you,
Friday.
Tiffany. I'm understanding your language now.
All right. Can you guys see it now?
Yes.
All right. There you go. You need me to scroll down? Tell me what you need me to do.
Yes, please scroll down slowly. And those of you, you know better, if there is a need for nominations, we can also accept nominations from the floor as well. The only problem is we can nominate as many as we want to, but they can say no. So that's going to be the challenge. But if you see any changes, please let us know before we vote. Finance, Board of Trustees, lay leadership nominations, committee. All right, so we will vote on the 5 required committees. Please go ahead. I thought somebody was trying to say something.
I was just going to ask if I could get a copy of this. Either I pick up one this week sometime, or it just email.
Contact Lorraine.
I will just forward it to you.
Okay, that's fine.
Heather, I'll forward it to you.
All right, any changes, any nominations? Or you could also nominate yourself if you want to, and we will vote.
We had 2 corrections. Am I correct? We added Bonnie Anderson's name to missions, and we added Shirley Greener's name to the lay leaders.
Okay.
Marianne, there's one more, and that's if you look at church council, the chairperson's name, that's her maiden name. We need to give.
Yeah, I've been Johnson for 19 years.
Got it.
But did they have it?
Just knows her.
It says Tiffany Clayton. That's my maiden name. Johnson is my married name.
Okay. All right. Our recording secretary will make corrections to all these changes.
Yes, I just wanted to make sure I had all of those.
Thank
and
you.
The 5 specifically that we're voting on are church council, finance, trustees, staff, parish, and nominations. Is that correct?
Exactly right. Yes. And we ideally, or technically, if we approve anything by the action of a church or charge conference, we need to call another one to make changes. So that's the reason why we don't want to approve so many other committees that you have, because
Okay.
that becomes more burdensome. So others you can change as you go along, which is easier.
Okay,
The same
thank
thing
you.
yeah, the same thing with budget. It's a live document. We don't want to approve it by the action of a charge or church because it makes it harder to make changes. But at council can approve, approve changes later on. So yes. All right. Thank you very much, Tiffany. And let's stop sharing and vote on this nominations report. If you would approve your nominations report for 2021, would you please show your hands? All right. Thank you. For those of you, we cannot see your face. If you like to unmute and voice your vote, you're welcome to do so.
I am not a member of Good Shepherd, so I don't feel I should vote.
Okay, so all right, that's fine. Thank you for letting us know. You can abstain. Any objections later? No, any objections? If any abstentions? All right, now it's approved. Thank you. Let's go to the next item, which is approval of membership roll update and worship attendance. Which page is that, Jennifer? Tiffany, can you show us? Do you see that? I've seen it, I think, but they're long and I cannot remember which page.
There it is.
All right, thank you. All right, so as of December 13, that is, okay, not today. December 13, your membership roll update, your professing membership is 149. You have baptism 1, removal by death 3, removal by request or transfer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think let's go down a little bit. Thank you. Worship attendance this year, as you know, is so hard to determine, but you have here before and after COVID, 87, that's before COVID, and after COVID, it's 83. Do you have list of names for your first reading, second reading? Okay, you do have for second reading. You don't have any for first reading. It's good to visit, especially the second reading before we vote to accept this, because sometimes you may know people whose name should not be there, or you can hear some other opinions. So do you have any names right here? Names for removal from membership. So after this vote, they will be what we call, their names will go to what we call historic roll. And later on, if anybody wants to be reactivated, we can do that. But until then, they will be considered a part of our historic church roll. Any comments on these names?
Pat and Lisa have moved. So they're still in contact with people, but they don't live here anymore. So that, you know, that's the other two, I don't know.
Okay. So those whose names are here should have been contacted at least last year and this year to see if they want to continue to maintain their membership. But as I mentioned, later on, if they would like to be reinstated, we can do that. So there's that's another chance future. Any other comments? All right. If not, let's stop sharing and vote on this. If you would approve your membership roll update for 2020, please show your hands. All right. Thank you. Same sign if you have any objections. All right, abstentions. Thank you, it is approved. Next is clergy compensation for 2021. So Mina, we received two different documents.
Don't even have the right one. Oh,
Okay.
sorry. I think I just, let me see. It's the most recent one is the correct one. But I think, sorry, we've had issues with this. But I think I just resent you the third and final one that should be the correct one. It still needs to be signed by Mark,
Okay.
who is on the road right now. But
Okay.
I just
All right.
sent it to you before this meeting.
Okay, so let me see. Okay, let me share this one with you then. Okay, so let me share the latest one with you. So here is the latest one that I received this morning. And again, you have your SPRC has discussed about it. It has been approved by the Ad Council, I believe. So we will not spend too much time unless you have some questions or clarifications. The total budget impact for 2021 is $78,940.24. That includes pension benefit, health benefit, housing allowance, and reimbursable expenses for 2,000. Any questions? All right. If there are none, if you would approve and prayerfully support your clergy compensation for 2021, would you please show your hands? All right. Thank you all. Any objections? Same sign. If any abstentions? All right, it is approved. Thank you all. Let's see. I believe you don't have any candidates for ministry, do you? Okay. So the last one is mission share or connectional giving. We also call it apportionment in the past, but we don't need to vote on this. But I want to say thank you to you for your generous giving every year, especially during the pandemic. It's been hard, but I want to say thank you for doing your best to support the connectional ministry. Without your generous giving, the connectional ministry cannot go on. So whatever we receive from our local churches, we also give a portion of that to our national and global church to enable to carry on the connectional ministry. So thank you very much. Your pastor and your finance chair will sign it and send it to us, but it's by no means a legal document. It is a faith covenant we make with each other. So again, thank you for your generous giving year after year. We hope that your financial circumstance will improve. Many or most churches are struggling financially, just like yours. But we pray that God will continue to help you to be hopeful, joyful as you serve together. Any other things? I think we proved everything. Did I miss out anything? Sometimes that I don't remember it happened, but it could happen. If none, let us close with a word of prayer, shall we? Oh, by the way, I forgot one more thing. Just one briefly. I want to share with you briefly the vision or the goal of our district, not our conference necessarily, but our district. just like local churches, we do have districts and conferences have goals and visions. And for our district, Peaks and Pikes Peak District, one of the main vision or goal is to, it's actually ongoing, but for at least the next few years, is to train more certified lay speakers and certified lay ministers. Because as you know, many of our churches are struggling financially. Of course, this is the decline in aging has been going on, and as a result of that, financially struggling. So it's been ongoing for many years, but out of nowhere, the pandemic showed up, and has really accelerated the struggle. So there are a few churches that are currently full time, but by next appointment year, they're downsizing to half time. Similarly, there are some churches, they have already downsized, but now because of the pandemic, they are also downsizing again, further downsizing, say from half time to quarter time. And even those who are already quarter time, they are struggling to keep that same appointment. So we don't hope, we pray that our churches will rebound and become viable, sustainable, but we want to be prepared and ready for the worst because we don't know what the future holds. So if any of our churches come to us and say, we have to close our church, we cannot keep it open, there is at least one more thing we can do. That is to yoke together 4 or 5 churches and appoint one ordained clergy to oversee these 4 or 5 churches and utilize the gifts and graces of our lay leaders as guest pulpit supplies or speakers to work alongside our ordained clergy. Because as you know, even though geographically the churches may be geographically closed, one clergy cannot possibly preach 4 or 5 times on a Sunday. So that's where we need certified lay ministers, certified lay speakers to keep the doors of our churches open to be God's presence in the community. Because so no matter how small or how big, each of our local churches are deeply involved in the community. So we would like to help our churches to keep the doors open to be to carry on God's work in their community. So, but without lay speakers or certified lay ministers, that's not going to be possible. So we would like to encourage lay people like yourself, or even within your church, who might be a good fit. Encourage people to prayerfully consider becoming certified lay speakers or certified lay ministers. We are also asking our clergy colleagues to identify and recruit and let us know, and we will provide the necessary training. Currently, we just finished, recently we finished the basic class, and now they are, I think, they have already started the class beyond that. So even as we speak, classes are already going on now. So please prayerfully think about that. Shall we unite our hearts in a moment of thanksgiving? Let us pray. Oh, gracious God, wonderful, magnificent, beautiful God, you are welcoming, you are forgiving, you are compassionate, you are gracious. You are so many things that we human words cannot describe. You are beyond our comprehension, beyond our words. You are wonderful, you're great, you're loving, and yet you have invited us, given us this undeserved, wonderful opportunity to represent your indescribable beauty, to call ourselves your people, to represent your goodness, your love, your compassion, your grace here on earth. What a wonderful, undeserved opportunity you have given unto us. for which we are so thankful. We are grateful. As human beings, many times we feel discouraged. We feel we have reached the end of the road. We feel like giving up. And yet, we are so thankful that you would honor us with the privilege of representing your goodness, be your hands, be your feet, be your heart while we are here on earth. So, oh God, help us to be grateful, joyful, hopeful for this wonderful, undeserved opportunity. And help us through your Spirit to be faithful to our calling, the calling that you have given to each and every one of us to serve you in various ways and capacities. Oh God, we don't know what the future holds, but we know one thing for sure. We know who holds the future, who holds our future individually as well as a faith community. So that is the joy we have in you. That is the foundation for our hope, our joy as we serve you together, because you have been there before us. You are here with us in the person of your Spirit, and you will be with your church many, many years after we are gone. And so, even as we struggle sometimes, we know that the future will be good and bright because you will always be there with your church. Help us to be helpful, to be hopeful, even in the midst of despair, gloom, and darkness. I want to thank you for Mina, your servant, for her passion and love for ministry. I want to thank you for her pastoral care and leadership, especially during a trying time such as this. I pray for strength. I pray for wisdom. I pray for joy as she strives to do the best for this faith community that you have entrusted unto her. Be with her and strengthen her as she serves your people. I also want to thank you, O God, for each and every one of the lay leaders and church members for so many years, so many hours, even decades of giving, service, and sacrifices, for so many things to do, expecting nothing from human beings, but are driven by their love for you, their love for one another, and their love for your people. Oh God, I pray that you increase their joy, their love for you, increase their hope as they serve you together. Be with each and every one of them and help them to be the leaders that you have called them to be. I pray for their loved one as well. Keep them safe, keep them secure, especially from the pandemic, from the virus that is spreading rapidly, and so that they can give their undivided time and attention to ministry. Be with each and every one of them. Again, we thank you, O God, for this time and for the calling that you have given unto us. It is with gratitude from our hearts we offer this prayer in your gracious name. Amen.
Amen. Thank
All
you.
right. It's been a blessing to hear your ministry, to hear your story. So thank you for having me. And by the way, I would be remiss if I don't tell you this before I leave. Just looking at all of you from, I don't know about those who I cannot see, but those I can see. You, each of you, everyone look incredibly young and good looking. So, yes, this is the good thing about Zoom. So keep on, keep on going and stay safe and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Happy
All
New
right.
Year. Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Yay, this is over.